Hey there and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be unboxing a beautifully painted die-cast model of a Fiat 131 Abarth rally car that I just purchased off eBay from Japan. It's been probably 8 or 9 years since I've bought any of these die-cast models. I used to kind of collect them, and the idea was sort of to collect a variety or history of rallies, starting from like early two-wheel drive up into the modern rally cars that we see today. But I only have about 5 of them right now. This is the 5th one I've bought. I'll show some of the other ones later in the video for comparison. And I'm also going to be test driving this very same car in Richard Burns Rally, where it's become a bit of a personal favorite of mine as well. And it's a very iconic rally car. This one was driven by Walter Roll. Funny enough, I actually didn't know he drove this car. I really associate him, at least in my head, with the Group B era. And I think one of the big reasons I'm interested in even driving in general is Walter Roll and that video of him just shredding the pedals and flying through a crowd of people, like hundreds of people on both sides of the road. And you just, the footwork is incredible. Just an absolute boss. But yeah, I guess he drove this car earlier in his career. And it's been driven by a lot of other drivers as well. There's another driver more recently, Paulo Diana, I'll show later in the video, is an absolute beast with this car, although he has a modified version. Just checking out the details, I was very impressed with this Kyosho model. I read recently that the quality of the Kyosho models has kind of fallen off. This is probably an older model. I have heard Auto Art has better details, is a little more premium, but I've stayed away from Auto Art because they're just too expensive. So I started my collection with Kyosho. I've kind of stuck with them. They don't seem to have Audi, very like Audi rally cars. So I might have to get into Auto Art after this one. There are a couple other older cars though that I'd like to collect before I get into the more even Group B era. There's a few very vintage like rally cars. And I found this clip of this car online. I forget what channel it was, but you just get a sense of how the car drives. It's rear-wheel drive. Obviously, there's a lot of sliding, a lot of power sliding. And for comparison, you can watch a little short clip of me driving this on a stage called Onimpoya. That's what I'm going to be doing next here. I'm not going to show the whole stage because it's like just short of 4 minutes. I'll just show the first section so you can get an idea of how it drives in RBR. I think it's almost picture perfect, the way it handles, even the way it lands on the jumps. But what I found in Richard Burns Rally, what attracted me to this car, is for the last year I kind of quit iRacing, but iRacing has always been for me rear-wheel drive. It's like 99% of the cars in iRacing are rear-wheel drive. So when I went back to RBR, I just kind of gravitated towards rear-wheel drive. And iRacing is not so good for teaching reactive driving. So if something goes wrong or the back end kicks out, it's not the best for that, for learning how to recover a car smoothly. So when I went back to Richard Burns Rally, I was shocked that I'm not as bad at driving as I thought it was from iRacing. And I focused on improving my rear-wheel drive driving. I've been doing a lot of drifting and trying to work on power sliding, but controlling the slides and controlling the throttle is really important, like modulating the throttle with rear-wheel drive, because you can steer the car with the throttle. But what I found out about this car is I drove more difficult cars and then went to this car. This car was actually very, very forgiving, and it's very controllable compared to some of the other rear-wheel drive cars in RBR. And it's kind of a joy to drive. And you'll see any instance where the back end kicks out in this replay, it's just incredibly controllable. You can just kind of go easy on the throttle and it will just settle into the turn, and it's not scary at all. It's very, very forgiving, which is why I kind of like it. I've done a lot of online rallies with this car, and the ones I do with this car I tend to finish, and in some cases without damage at all. Like I get through the entire rally, whether it's 6, 8, 12 stages. With this car I know I can get to the end of a rally even if I don't know the stages that well.
crest, fast left into over crest, 50. Medium right into.
So I don't know, maybe it's just my opinion, but if you look at the replay and just the way the car kind of bounces around, it looks very similar to the actual footage that I showed earlier. And I'm going to skip to the end of the stage here so you don't have to watch the whole thing.
Finish.
Okay, so this is just to show some of my other cars. I have a Renault Alpine, and you can just see how dirty these have gotten sitting on the shelf over the years. And it really has been a long time since I bought one of these, and look at the 037, man, that's just caked with dirt. So I got a little bit of alcohol and some Q-tips, and I just went to town on these, and I spent about an hour cleaning the 4 models that were on my shelf, so that I can put them back up there to get all dirty all over again. And I'll show what they look like once they're all cleaned up at the end of the video and compare them to the new Fiat model as well. I just want to draw your attention to this driver that I recently discovered. His name is Paulo Diana, and he is a absolute monster. Like, when I saw this clip, I had to know who this guy was. That is just wild. The car control is wild. And apparently he doesn't drive as much to beat stage times as he does to entertain people. I think that is just awesome. Just Rally needs more of this guy. I found this video as well, and I'm going to try to find a stage similar to this in RBR and kind of practice his style a little bit. It's probably not going to go well because this is so outside of my wheelhouse in terms of how I tend to drive. He's just trying to throw the back end out everywhere, and he spins out here. And he has a big smile and he's laughing. Yeah, I could watch this guy drive all day. But do yourself a favor, look at Paulo Diana and watch some of his replays, because there's a lot of highlights on YouTube of this guy driving. And he uses a modified version of this car. So he's got, I think, 340 horsepower in his car. And what I'm going to try to do is try to emulate his driving style a little bit on a stage called The Legend in Richard Burns Rally. It's not going to look this pretty, but I'm going to give it a shot. And I kind of enjoyed trying to do this because instead of driving just the way I might naturally approach the game, I'm trying to drive with someone else's style, and it kind of pushes me to use a little bit more aggression, and I find that my driving is just really lacks aggression. So I start off by just spinning out immediately, and I'll show a couple clips here of me driving. And keep in mind, this car, or this version in RBR, only has 210 horsepower, so I am driving at a bit of a disadvantage. So I'm going to hit this jump and pull the handbrake at the bottom of the hill here. And just maybe held on to the handbrake a little too long. But really just trying to get a feel for how much grip I have, even if I am spinning out. Maybe learn how to recover it. I do hold on to it pretty well here, I think. But just trying to drive more on the edge than I'm normally comfortable with. And I'm not really trying to drift. If I was trying to drift, per se, I would probably slow it down a little bit and be a little bit more smooth and precise. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to drive with Paulo's style, which is very aggressive, burning out of every corner, almost flat out into full opposite lock, getting outside of my comfort zone of how I normally drive or approach the game, at least for a short while. I think after this, I went back to gravel courses, and I drove similar cars, rear-wheel drive cars, and just trying to do the perfect hairpin. So that's what I did after this. And this is a really fun course. It's called The Legend. It doesn't have the best lighting. Keep in mind, this game came out in 2005, so this is a very old graphics engine. But it is a very nice course with a nice layout, and it really does remind me of the Paulo Diana video we saw with similar turns and chicanes and stuff. So this is one of the handbrake turns that worked out. Hit the jump, land,
caution,
and that was much more smooth. A little bit too wide to the left, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, here's the replay. maybe looks better in the replay. Well, this is maybe just the right amount of handbrake. Huh.
Into hairpin left and K right, tightens bad, 100.
But anyway, I gave it my best shot, and hopefully you like the video. I'm gonna just get back to the die-cast cars briefly before the end here, and just show how they look all cleaned up. Starting with the Mini on the left, and the Renault Alpine. That Mini was the first one I bought. I actually love the Mini Cooper. I wish that car was in Richard Burns Rally. I'd really love to drive that in a more realistic sim. I used to drive it in Dirt Rally quite a bit. That and the Ford Escort were my two favorite cars in Dirt Rally. And the Abarth 131 is surprisingly large. It's a big boxy car. It almost looks out of place, it's so big. It's probably about the same length as the 037, but it's a lot higher. But overall, as a review of that model, excellent. It's really quite... They did a great job on it. This is just a quick look in the engine bays. But even like the undercarriage, all the suspension components on the bottom of the 131, everything's there. It looks very detailed. And anyway, that's pretty much it. I went on to clean a couple other models that I have. This is a Ford that I bought years ago. It's a Sunstar. And I have another Mini. That one was given to me as a gift, but I think it's in a 1/16th scale, so it's a little bit larger. That always threw me off. There's also a silver Citroen in the corner there on the right, and an Indy car that I think my mother gave me as a gift. But anyway, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I'm not sure what I'll do for my next video. I have some ideas of some stuff I can throw in here, and yeah, thanks for watching. And I guess have a great day.